Hi, I've chosen the 1.5 mile run test for my presentation on fitness testing. And this is a maximal test that is used to estimate a VO2 max based off of the completion time to run 1.5 miles. It's going to measure cardiovascular endurance as well as the endurance of the leg muscles. And it's a much higher intensity tests than some of the submaximal um, cardiovascular tests out there, and it's actually used by the U.S. Navy to look at the fitness levels of their people. So it's not for beginners, not for people who are less conditioned, anyone who may have heart disease or has risk factors for it, or someone who would have trouble running 15 minutes. So that would be a good way to screen for the test, is just ask how comfortable somebody is running for 15 minutes. It's the test protocol is to complete 1.5 miles. That's the goal, is to complete it as quickly as possible, and that's going to require pacing. It requires very little equipment, so it's pretty easy to administer on an indoor or an outdoor track. It can also be done on a treadmill, and if it's on a treadmill, it's good to put it at a 1% incline. And then it requires a stopwatch or these days, really a phone, to just track the time. And the pre-test procedures are just to let the participant know the purpose and goal, remind them that it's really important to pace, because if they end up walking, it's going to change the results for the VO2 max and underestimate it. It is okay to walk, though, if they end up needing to. And I just talk to them about motivation and pushing as much as they can at the same time as pacing, because that's going to give the most accurate results. And then have them warm up with some dynamic stretching or some light jogging for a few minutes beforehand. And then on the go, you'll just start the watch, and if they're doing a track, then it's good to kind of give them some sort of indicator of how far along they are, so that they know how fast to go and pace themselves. Obviously, if they're on a treadmill, they can do that for themselves. And when they're finished, just record their time, and then have them cool down for about 3 to 5 minutes with some walking or light stretching. And then, of course, because it's maximal exercise, watch them afterwards so that nothing bad happens. And then as far as the results, I guess there's multiple ways that you can calculate the VO2 max based on the time. This is a formula that the ACSM put out that just requires you to plug in their weight in kilograms and then their completion time in minutes. So you would just round to the nearest hundredth. And then you also have to put in a 1 for male or a 0 for female. And then you can take this VO2 estimate and then look at a table, like the table that's in our book, and compare it to other individuals in the same age group. Or you don't even have to use the formula. You can also just compare their completion time with normal values for other people in their age group. And those tables can just be found online. And so this is a good test for somebody who's interested in knowing their VO2 max, but doesn't want to go through like an actual, treadmill test with the thing in your mouth. That doesn't look very fun. It's actually one of the most reliable. There was a 2016 review of some of these VO2 predictive tests, and this was one of the more reliable ones. It's more reliable than some of the submaximal tests. So it's a good one, and it's also really easy to administer and doesn't require a lot of equipment. So that's all I have. And there's my references, and thank you for listening.